getting out of the mind. So many of us are so stuck in overthinking, constantly consumed by thoughts, constantly planning for the future or worrying, thinking about the past, reminiscing, trying to rationalize old conversations. Maybe you notice it when you try to fall asleep and your mind is just racing, or you notice it a lot when you're walking the street and you're just so aware of everything, maybe even socially anxious or judging other people a lot. It's never just peace and quiet in your head. And the most frustrating part about this is that it takes you away from the present moment. Every time we go into our mind, go into our thoughts, we can't be present. We can't just feel and enjoy what is going on because we're overthinking it. Not many people understand the true nature of the mind, which is what I want to explain in this video. Because once you understand the true nature of the mind, it becomes much easier to dissociate from the mind and not get so consumed by and absorbed into the mind. Watch this video until the end, because in the end I will also give some actual practices that can help you to actually deactivate and shut up the mind. So the first thing to understand is the nature of the mind. What you need to understand about the mind is that this mind is like a blank canvas. You can literally think anything. And the first thing to understand here is that your thoughts are not yours. You think your thoughts are yours, and we often say, oh, I was thinking, I am thinking. But your thoughts are not yours, and you are not your thoughts. So I am thinking is inherently false. You are not thinking anything. Thoughts can just come into the mind. It is an open vessel. Any thought can come into the mind. And you can see the thoughts in your mind like voices in your head, but it is not you that is talking. You are the one that is listening to the thoughts. You are the one that is listening to the voices. So those voices in your head and the thoughts that you're thinking, that is not you. And that already gives the first level of clarity, where it's like you have a choice there, right? When the voices are speaking in your head, you have a choice whether to listen to them or to not listen to them, because you really need to integrate that you are the listener to the thoughts. A second very important thing to understand is that thoughts are a result of the emotions that you're feeling. It means that the thoughts that you create are just already based on how you're feeling. If you're on a very low, depressed frequency, you will have a lot of negative thoughts about other people, about yourself, about your work, about everything. When you are on an inherently higher frequency, you feel better, you will have a lot of positive thoughts. Those same people, that same work, that same whatever you were thinking about before negatively, suddenly gets a very positive perspective, a lot of positive thoughts. So do you also understand from this that thoughts are inherently untrue and completely subjective? Your mind is like an open projector, an open canvas, and it just depends what color is already present, depending on what colors will be painted on the canvas. And again, going back to the voices in your head, it is like if we exist on a lower frequency, lower vibrational voices or entities, whatever you want to call them, can speak to you. So it is actually like you are existing on a lower frequency level, you're feeling worse, so the voices in your head that you are able to receive can be of that lower frequency, that lower nature. The lower vibrational entities, or maybe you want to externalize them, beings, can talk to you in your head from that lower space. And when you exist on a higher frequency, those lower vibrational entities, those voices, those negative voices, simply do not resonate with you. They cannot speak to you, so you won't hear them. And instead, you will have a lot more positive thoughts, or even less thoughts at all. So really understand that the voices in your head is not you, based on the emotion that you're feeling or the frequency that you're existing on, because emotions are frequencies. Other voices can speak to you, can have access to you. So understand, when you are having a lot of negative thoughts, know that the problem is not the thoughts. The thoughts aren't even true. The things that you're thinking in that moment, the voices that you're hearing in that moment, are not even true. They are just trying to talk you down even more. That's how you could see it. They can access you because you are existing on a lower vibrational plane. And The purpose for you is getting yourself on a higher vibrational plane by actually making yourself feel better. I'll get to the practical stuff in the end, but I can already say, do something to increase your vibration. Is there anything that you can do right now that could make you feel better? And notice how your thoughts will shift. How many times have you gone back and forth about something? One moment you were really convinced of one thing and the other moment of another thing. Another thing to understand about thoughts is that they are part of this bigger network. Your mind is actually a part of the physical aspect of your consciousness that is connected to the whole. So that is why we can also telepathically communicate or catch each other's thoughts. And that is another direct proof for ourselves to understand that our thoughts are not ours. If other people can sometimes catch our thoughts, there must be some type of link, there must be some type of bigger network which all of our minds are tapped into. So even your mind is not just your individual mind, it is connected to this bigger network. So thoughts can just come to you. You are just a receiver. You're like an open radio station, and the thoughts are just the channels that can come into you. And based on what frequency, what emotion you are existing on, different frequencies of thoughts can enter your system, can be received by your brain, by your mind. There's more proof for the fact that thoughts are just received by us. There have been many times in history where there has been a very unique scientific invention made at two places in the earth at the same time. So two people on Earth received the exact same idea, very unique idea of some type of invention at the same time. So this is direct proof that thoughts are just like entities floating around waiting for a host. They're waiting to be catched onto something, whoever is resonating with them. So it's like we're floating in this world of thoughts and entities and ideas, and whoever resonates with those thoughts is going to be receptive by it. Now, going back to the idea that our brain, our mind is like a receiving station, it will have some type of memory of thoughts that it has received a lot. So it is like thoughts can clutch onto us. And this is when we think a certain way or we have a certain thought pattern reoccurring a lot, these neural pathways in our brain get deeply imprinted into our system. And it is like this entity, this thought has really clutched onto us. But it doesn't mean that we're unable to let go of it. No matter how deeply ingrained this is, there's always the possibility to let this thought entity go. And that is when we release the emotion that is behind it. When this thought simply cannot resonate with us anymore. When we bring ourselves to a higher frequency, this negative, deep thought pattern simply cannot resonate with you anymore. And this is not about distracting yourself. This is about actually healing yourself and understanding what emotion is behind a thought. And this comes me to my second point, which is really important. A lot of people don't know that the mind loves to project, especially on other people. So how many times in your life do you get angry at someone, or you get very stressed by a work task, or you get very annoyed by something that happens in your life? You get very irritated that you missed the train. You get very pressured by your parents calling you and telling you certain things that put pressure on you. Your partner is stressing you out, whatever it is. What we don't realize here is that our life is a projection, and we love to blame. We love to think, oh, but that person made me angry. Oh, but my mom is stressing me out. Oh, my work is stressing me out. No such thing. Those things can only happen when that emotion already exists in you, when you're already on that plane, on that frequency. So it's like, if you already carry anger in you, life will manifest people into your life that will make you more angry. When you already feel stressed and anxious, life will manifest more people into your life that make you feel stressed and anxious. Work situations, whatever it is that is causing that same emotion in you. And when we get stuck in the mind, the hook here is when we keep blaming, when we keep pointing outwards. Let's go back to the angry example. Someone does something and we're very angry by it or upset by it. And then we keep thinking about this person. What have they done? Why would they do that to me? They're so this, they're so that. I don't know how angry it gets in your mind. So many thoughts are wasted on a projection, on a blaming game, because it was never the fault of that person. That emotion already existed within you. That situation is only manifesting because you have an emotion within you that you are not acknowledging. And so much of our mind gets consumed by projection and blaming games, pointing outwards. That situation, that person, that thing is causing me to feel this way, and thinking and thinking and thinking about how it is unfair, how angry it makes us, maybe even cursing in our head. So much mind energy is wasted on projecting and blaming. So understand this once and for all. Whatever is happening in your life, whatever situations occur to you, stop pointing outwards and start to look at why this emotion is existing within you. And I am someone who has had to process a lot of anger quite recently. And it is already processed to a large extent, but sometimes I still notice that my anger comes up again, or my irritation is more the way I find it. And when I'm in that irritated frequency, I don't know, the person I'm with or my friend or whoever is in my life right now, I notice my mind starting to think thoughts about them. Why are they doing that to me? Why didn't they respond in that tone? Why did they do this? And I know, no, my mind is just playing a blaming game right now. And I want you to have that same awareness, same realization. I am feeling the way I am feeling. I am feeling angry. I am feeling irritated. And whatever my mind or whatever the voices in my head are providing to me right now, I am not going to believe it. I am not going to go with it, and I'm not going to feed it my energy. Because I know these voices in my head love to chat garbage whenever I am dropping my frequency. And as soon as I have that awareness and I just let the thoughts go, I don't believe them, I'm just rejecting them, I'm not acting upon them or speaking them out loud or doing anything with them, they slowly go away. The voices are like, okay, well, this individual is not resonating with us. The frequency can go up again and you can just go back to more positive thoughts. And then when you get out of that feeling of low vibration and you go back to whatever your normal state is, the things that you're thinking is not you. You might think very angry, aggressive things, but these are just the voices in your head. This is not you. And you don't have to identify with it. When you understand these principles that I'm explaining here, these voices in your head are just talking to you because you dropped your frequency to a lower vibrational frequency. But you are the one listening to your thoughts. Third thing that I want to talk about is the past. Because the thing it loves most is to bring us away from the present moment. And a big factor of that is bringing us back into the past. And we love to reminisce about the past, especially go over negative things that we've been through. You have to understand why the brain does that. The brain only does that to keep you safe because it thinks that in that way it can prevent that bad thing or whatever happened from happening again. What you, as a person that is growing into awareness, should realize is what emotion is behind this past event. What emotion is coming up in me when I think about this past event. And I want you to separate the thoughts from the emotion in the past. This is best when you sit down with yourself, close your eyes, and actually do some introspection in meditation, going within. And instead of going over the thoughts and the thoughts again and again about the past, try to see what you actually feel with it. And maybe start to think about other moments where you felt this before and try to trace it back as far as possible, going into the past as far as possible. Like, when have I felt this before or before or before or before? What is the first instance that I remember feeling this emotion? And sometimes to release an emotion of the past, it is important that we completely feel it. that we completely let ourselves feel that feeling of anger or embarrassment or anxiety and just witness it. Look at the past version, visualize the past version of ourselves in our head that went through that, and have a lot of love and compassion for them. That is when we truly can let go of the past. I can give an example of myself. I have been in a very toxic, traumatic relationship that is quite far in the past now, and it is still some things that I kept thinking about and kept thinking about. Bad memories would come up and I would feel so icky and bad about it. Then one time I actually sat down with myself. I went back to those past memories, visualized my past self, and instead of reminiscing over it, I looked at myself and I saw my past self go through that. And as my present moment self, I gave my past self a hug. Like, wow, you were so strong and I love you. I'm here for you. I can't believe you went through that. And I have so much love and compassion for you. You are so powerful. And just that was such a deep healing process. Because often when we stay stuck in the past, it's because we still have a lot of icky feeling about it. Maybe even a more superficial thing, like we had a very embarrassing moment. How much our mind loves to then go over it and go over it and feel that embarrassment again and again and again. So I'm not asking you to go back to the past to dwell on the embarrassment, but rather go back to that past event, visualize it, and actually be that compassionate, loving person for yourself. As the second person in this visualization, watch your past self and be there for them. Have a lot of love and compassion for them so that they are finally allowed to feel whatever they were feeling in that moment. With the past, there's also a big thing of letting go. And one thing that we don't always realize is that we do have the capacity to let go. And it is a simple decision. We can decide at some point to just let it go. This is especially when we identify a lot with our past, when we introduce ourselves with it. I went through this, that's why I am the way I am. I am a person that went through this. And we introduce ourselves and talk about it and talk about it. And I know you've been through that thing in the past. And it doesn't mean it isn't real and it didn't happen for you, but you don't have to keep making it your identity. Because every time you make it your identity, you're literally saying, I am still that. The past is the present moment, and I'm still holding on to that as if it is in the present moment. And in that way, you can't let it go. You keep even projecting it and dragging it into your future. And the karma keeps repeating itself and repeating itself and repeating itself. Karma, a lot of us talk about bad karma, but karma are cycles in our life of energy that keep repeating because one energy manifests a likewise energy. But karma actually means action. In this action, there is a decision involved. And we do have a decision where we can start to break some karmic cycles that we are in simply by choosing to let it go. No longer identify with, no longer speak about it to other people all the time as if it is still part of our identity. And it doesn't mean deny or suppress your past. When you are by yourself, by all means, still do more introspection about it. But stop identifying with it. Stop making it a thing that makes you you, because your past is not you. Your past is just something that you've been through, that your mind has subscribed a thought pattern to, that you keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and as a result, even projecting and manifesting into your future. But you can unsubscribe. You can let it go. You can literally decide that you don't want this past thing to further decide your future. And as a result, you let it go. But you have to be honest with yourself here. You have to really sit down, eyes closed, do proper introspection, and not just tell yourself I'm letting it go, but really feel into it and ask yourself if you are ready to let it go. And let it go. Do a ritual, do something physical to make it real for yourself, right? A letting go letter and burning it around the full moon, even more powerful, because this is the time of letting go. We are the listener to the thoughts. We are the listener to these past patterns that keep repeating in us. We are the ones that subscribed to it. Key here about the past is fully feeling the emotion and letting it go. Fourth thing that I want to talk about is the future, because our mind either loves to be in the past, but it also loves to go to the future. What is lacking in a mind that is so occupied by worrying and planning for the future is that it lacks a lot of faith and trust that we are not the ones in control, because what is driving life is life force energy, the source consciousness. And this source consciousness is not separate from us, it is within us. Our soul is a fragment of source consciousness, is tapped into this. And that is the being that is driving this life. Our soul, our source, God consciousness. But our mind is just a physical manifestation of this consciousness. And it loves to falsely assume that it is the one in control. It thinks that by planning and rationalizing and worrying about the future, it has some type of control over the future. And it's not true. Your mind is not in control over your future. The one that is in control is source consciousness. And who has access to source consciousness? Your soul, or your feelings and emotions, your intuition. So through feeling through life, you could actually let go of a lot of rational thinking about it, and you would make the right decisions always, and you wouldn't have to worry anymore. For this requires a lot of surrender and faith and trust. And even if you look at the past, yeah, you've been through some shit, probably, as all of us, but did things not work out in the end? Was there not a silver lining to any bad thing you've been through? Did things not eventually lead to some type of good thing or strength or power within you? Did it not make you into the person that you are today? So once you start to accept that, you understand that you can have trust, you can have faith. Whatever you go through, whatever bad thing, whatever good thing, there's probably a higher purpose to it. And wasting your mental energy, your mind and your thoughts on worrying about it and trying to control it is causing so much resistance and so much frustration and wasted energy, really. Because you can see us individuals like waves in an ocean, and the ocean is like source energy, God, life force energy that is guiding us. And the ocean is going to decide where the waves are going to go. And one individual wave can have a lot of resistance, try to swim in the opposite current, but it's just going to waste energy, because who is eventually deciding? It is the ocean, it is God, it is the source. So that is what we call destiny. So we can have so much resistance to destiny and take detours, and we can waste so much mental mind energy on trying to think about the future, plan for it. Or can we just accept that our mind is incapable of planning the future, because our mind does not have full access to the complete picture? Unless you're awakened, then you are tuned into the complete source and you are one with everything, because you as an individual are not separate from your environment. This is a collaboration, this is one. Same as all of us people, individuals, we look separate, but we are one unit, one life force system that is flowing in a certain way. And our mind, our little micro raisin mind, thinks that it can have some effect on the bigger picture or how things are flowing. And this is a false belief. This is not true. So whenever you find yourself worrying so much about the future, maybe remind yourself that your mind is not the one in control anyway. And things have always found a way of working out. And you can only connect the dots looking back. So why not have a little faith? Why not have a little trust? Why not surrender more? Why not stopping to plan ahead so much and just let your intuition, your feeling guide you in the moment? Oh, what do I feel like doing now? Oh, maybe you have a decision in front of you. What do I feel like? What do I feel most passionate and excited about? And just follow that passion and excitement in any instance, and you can't make the wrong choice. And it doesn't mean that there won't be fearful voices in your head, but know that these voices are not you. You don't have to listen to the thoughts or to the voices. You can listen to your feelings and your emotions and your gut. Drop the head into the heart. Drop the head into your gut and just see how it feels. What do you gravitate towards? What feels most natural? Now, let's talk about deactivating the mind. I first want to make a notion here that practically there are things that really stimulate our mind. Instagram, social media, watching Netflix, talking a lot, yapping a lot. Those things really activate our mind and give a lot of energy to the mental energy. So you just have to be aware that if you do these things, if you engage in these things, you're going to have more thoughts. So think about that, especially an hour before you go to bed, and try to refrain from these things if you struggle falling asleep because of a hyperactive mind. Notice the things that you might be doing to overstimulate the mind and refrain from those in general, but especially before bed. Now, the practice to deactivate the mind is meditation. Because what you try to practice with a meditation, you try to sit down with your eyes closed and you just try to let go. You drop into your body, you feel the sensations of your body, and whatever thought occurs, which it will happen, but you try to just let it go, not act upon it, not think more thoughts about it, not be so consumed by it, but just see if you can let it go and drop back into the body. And you keep practicing this. You just keep letting go and letting go and letting go. And for people that have lived most of their life in their head, this is going to be extremely hard. And this is going to take some time and practice before you will actually get to a state where you can get a little bit of a quiet mind. The key here in meditation to get as much as quiet mind as possible is that your body has to be fully relaxed. You have to sit up straight. So whether you sit on the floor and cross-legged, or if that's too hard for you, sit on a chair with your feet on the floor. You have to sit up completely straight with your spine, but your muscles have to be completely relaxed. There can't be any tension in your body, not your shoulders, not your face. Really try to relax all the muscles. That should be the first thing that you do in meditation. And then you just sit there with your eyes closed. As a thought occurs, you just try to observe the thought. Then you observe it and you realize, oh yeah, I was consumed by my thoughts again. Let me just go back into my body and let it go. And let it go and let it go. And keep repeating that process. Keep repeating that. Keep going back to the body or the breath or nothing at all. You can just sit. It's literally just practicing to relax. That's meditation. It's practicing to relax the body. And with that, the mind automatically slows down and calms down. And sometimes some thoughts are very stubborn. If that's the case, you can see if you can feel what emotion is behind it. Why does that thought keep reoccurring? Why can you not seem to let it go? And maybe there is an emotional release. Maybe you have to cry during meditation. Amazing. When you cry during meditation, it's not a failed attempt. It's good. You're releasing things. You're emptying the garbage bin that is your brain. So that is all fine. A lot can happen during meditation. Energy can move. Emotional releases can happen. But the only thing for you to stay aware of is just relaxing the body as much as possible, keeping the spine straight, and try to let go. And you have to be diligent with it. Every day you need to do this, at least 10-15 minutes, and you can slowly build it up as you get better and better and better. And believe me, you can get addicted to meditation because it will feel so good to just relax and be nothing, be in the space. I have a guided meditation here that is very helpful if you need a little bit of guidance to really get into that higher vibrational state of meditation, quieting down the mind. That's what I want to leave it with. If you need my personal guidance on manifesting or getting yourself from the present moment self into a higher future version of yourself, I've crafted a very comprehensive 5-week manifestation course. Day by day, I help you through the practices and the journaling to get to that new version of you, make the changes, work on the self-concept, on the meditative state, quieting down the mind, etc. You also get my personal guidance through chat, and we do live Q&A sessions also. So link is in the description if you want to find out more about that. Thank you so much for watching, my loves. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video, and if you have any additions or anything to share, I love to read it. And I would love to see you in my next video. Sending you much love.